What's up? Roland here. This week on 3D NerdStop, we're going to do a 3-color print through one extruder, and I'm going to show you how. Alright guys, here we go. This is the model we're going to print out today. We're going to do this in 3 colors through one extruder. So, as you can see, it's black, blue, and white. So that's why I picked this model, because it's set up to actually do this. So it's a really nice model. The guy designed it so you could print it out with 3 colors. So we would download this model and unzip it as usual. And then we'll open it up here in CURA. And here we go. There it is. Now, because we're doing a keychain, all right, as you can see, let's start with this. You can see it's going to take 38 minutes. It's going to use 3.64 meters of material, which is 11 grams. Okay, as you can see, I'm going to do this at my standard 2.0 layer height, 1.2 top and bottom thickness. But because I'm making a keychain, I am actually going to do this at 100% infill. I'm going to just make this a solid piece of plastic. It's a keychain. Having an infill on this would probably get beat up too much, and plus it's really not that much plastic to make this little keychain. So I figured I'd do this at 100%. We'll do everything else at our standards. We'll do it at a print speed of 60 and the extruder temperature at 210 and the bed temperature at 50. We don't need any infill on this, so we're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is we are going to go to our plugins. And we're going to do a pause at layer height. Okay, so we'll add the first one in. And the first thing we'll do here now is go over here and switch over to our layer view and let it load up. All right, and now we can see it. Now what we'll do is we'll scroll all the way down to the bottom here and start at the bottom. Now what we're looking for is when we need to change from black to blue. So as we go up through the layers, right now we're printing black, Oh, there we go. That should probably be the first layer of blue, because if you notice the one before it is just blank, and then now we have the BMW text put in and the center circle being printed. So, okay, this should be our first layer of blue. Well, we're at 19, so if we bring up a calculator real quick, we can do 19 times 0.2, because that's our layer thickness. And that comes up to 3.8. Or if you're really good at math and you can do it in your head, just do it in your head. So that's 3.8. So what we'll do, is we close our calculator, is we'll say we want to do this at 3.8. All right. Now I know in my original video, I stated you want to put it at the end of a layer, so the next layer it prints at, and I was actually wrong. I have since discovered you want to do it at the beginning of the layer you are printing. So I want to start my blue at 3.8, so that's what I'm going to tell it I want to start at is 3.8. Okay. One of the reasons in the other video that I thought the other way around is because when you come under advanced here, you have your initial layer thickness, and I had mine set to 0.15. So of course it made the first layer of the model 0.15 thickness. So then everything beyond that was 0.05 smaller than I thought it was. So when I thought we were hitting the 1.4 millimeter layer or whatever layer height it was in that video, we were actually 0.05 shy of it. So when it went to the next layer and exceeded the number that's in the plugin is when it stopped, because it actually went over it and it said, oh, well, between those two, this is where I need to stop. So that's why it did it the wrong way last time. So if you have this set to a certain layer thickness, you have to take that into account for your first layer. I have it set to 0, 0, so it makes whatever my base layer is here is what it makes my first layer thickness. So that's one thing you got to watch out for that I did not point out in the first video. And I'm going to go back and make annotations in the first video that corrects myself. It won't be as much depth. I'll point them to this video for the in-depth correction. So, going back to this, one of the other things I have discovered when I do a multi-print is I like to take the x-axis and center it, and take the y-axis to 0, because I find it real hard to get both hands up against one side of the machine trying to change the filament out. I find it easier to do in the middle of the machine. I always raise my Z up by 3 millimeters, and I only retract by 3 millimeters when I do mine. Okay, so we've discovered layer 1. Well, we know we're going to do another color, so we need to add that. So we'll just come up here and we'll add another pause at height. So now we need to figure out where that one's going to start. And that looks like it's going to start here at 23, because this is where it starts printing over the blue with the white symbol. So we want to start that at 23. Okay, we can do that. Again, we'll pull up our handy dandy calculator and we'll do the math, which says it's at 4.6. So we'll change the layer height to 4.6. And then we're going to come in here and we're going to go 1, 1, 1, 0, 3, 3. Okay, so now we've set that in there, and as you can see, we've got it all programmed. We're all good to go, right? Well, let's save it off to the SD card. So we save that off to the SD card, and for fun this time, we are going to actually look at the code on the SD card. So what I did is I just opened up the file on my SD card in Notepad++. As you can see, here we are. This is the G code that your machine runs. So one nice thing that I noticed CURA did when I first came in here and started playing around in here is CURA tags every layer, which is wonderful. So you know where each layer starts. It makes it real easy to find a layer if you need to come in here and do something to a layer. The confusing part for some people is going to be that when you're in CURA, it shows the first layer as 1. But when you're doing the code, it shows the first layer as 0. So this is a 1-based count, where this is a 0-based count. So you have to remember, we added our first break at 19, layer 19 here in CURA. But in here, if we go find it, if we go to 19, as you can see, there's nothing fancy here to tell it to stop moving. But if we actually subtract 1 from it and go to 18, because we're doing a 0-based count instead of a 1-based count, now you can see it has all the code here to pause. Oops, sorry guys. There you go. Now you can see here it has all the code to pause the print. So the one thing I'm noticing here is that's a lot more code than there should be for one pause. Because in theory, that should not be here. Because if you notice, this says that when it returns to printing, because basically what this is doing is this is telling it to pause, this is telling it to retract, this is telling it to retract filament, this is actually telling it to move the Z up to 18 millimeters for some reason, and then it's telling it where to go on the G coordinates. Now it's telling it to pause completely, reset extruder to 0, and then it waits for you to tell it to start back up. When you start back up, it's, extrudes 3 millimeters, then it extrudes, then it retracts, and then it's moving into position, but it's going to Z15. Well, that's not right. So one of the things I discovered is you can't add 2 pause ats in CURA. It doesn't work. So what we're going to do to fix that is I kind of came up with a little workaround for it. So what we'll do is we'll close that document for right now, and we'll actually eject our SD card, because we're not going to want to save this to our SD card. So we'll take it out of the computer. All right. And we're going to come over here and we're going to remove one of the posats. Okay, so we removed it. So now what we will do is we will come in here and we'll say, okay, save toolpath, and we're going to save it to disk. And then we're going to say this is, we'll leave this one named the keypad, the actual key fob or key ring. And we will save it. All right. Now we can change this to, if you remember, it was 4.6. Okay, and we're going to save it again. This time we will tag this as our 4.6 and save. Okay. Now we can open the folder that it's in. Oops, opened up over here. If I can get it to come with me. There we go. So we got it now opened up. So we have our 4.6 and we have our keypad, our 3.6 or 3.8 layer. Sorry. So we're going to open both of them up in Notepad++. And Notepad++ opens them both up in the same spot. So now we can come here and we can go to this one and we can say, okay, well, I want to do a find on this and I want to find layer 18 because we know that's where it's going to be. And click find. And now you can see this is the proper pause code. Here's where it's paused, waiting on you to tell it to resume print. And here is where it is going to go back. This is where the position it'll go back to before it starts printing again. So, okay. That's great. That's what we were looking for. So now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to find it on this one. And on this one, it's on layer 21. Nope, sorry, 22. There we go, layer 22. Sorry, it was 23 here. I should have paid attention. It's 23 here, so it becomes 22 here. So now we can see this is the exact same code restarted at 22. So now you can see we have our two spots where it restarts our code. So, pretty cool, huh? All right, so one of the things I found I like to do is I like to come in here just above this command line where it tells it it's going back to the proper Z, it's going back to the model, just telling it where to go. And I want to add a line of code here. I'm going to add a G28 X0 Y0. And what that does is it re-zeros, it rehomes your X and Y coordinates to 0. And the reason I like doing that is in case you accidentally move the extruder head while putting filament in it, which if you've done this a couple of times or you've done this at all, it's kind of easy to do. It's kind of easy to accidentally move it the tiniest little bit. By re-zeroing it, it moves everything back to 0 and then it'll go to where it's supposed to go and it should start printing back exactly where it left off. So I like doing that. So we're going to take that there. We're going to copy that. Then we're going to come over here and I'm going to put that in here as well where it says it's resuming at the 4.6. All right. Now everything from this type wall inner, the line above it, all the way to where it says custom code. I'm going to copy all of this. Control C. Copy all of it. And I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to do it, Control F. I'm going to do a find. Oops. Let's highlight this. This makes it easier. Control F. And I'm going to look for layer 22, which is where we want to put this code. So here we are, layer 22. And I'm going to replace this little bit right here with Control V. There you go, because you can see it's already here. And voila. Now you have the extruder changing out at 2 different layers. It's going to ask you to change the filament twice. So we will save that. And then we can close these. Okay, so now this code right here has everything we need. So now we will put our SD card back in. Here's our SD card with our old file in it. We can delete that. And then we come up here and grab this one, drag it down here, and drop it in. Now we have both of our filament change stops in it. There we go. So now we are ready to print. So we'll get the printer heated up and get her printing. Just another second or two here. One more quick jump over to the other side, and it should be done. Here we go. Time to change the filament. As you can see, it parked it right where I wanted it. So we can pull the black out. And put the black off to the side. Now we're going to pull the blue out we're going to use, because our blue is our second color we're putting on this model. Where the white will be the last. Hopefully this spool will work okay on this spool holder I got up here. I don't like this one for this spool, but that's okay. There we go. Now we're just going to run the black out until we start seeing good blue. Clean the head off here real quick. Now see, I haven't worried if I've bumped this around a little bit while doing this. Because if my code works the way I programmed it to, it should go directly to, it should now, when I restart it, which I'm about to do, by pushing the black button, is it should home the Z and Y axis. And there we go. Now it's printing the blue. Alright guys, and it is just about done with with the blue. Should be done here any second. I think it's got to draw the letters yet. There you go. There we go. Now it'll be ready for our white. Now that it's done that, we can take our blue out. Now we can stick our white up here. There we go. Alright, there's our white. Get a hold of it. Now we can feed our white down and get all the blue out. Well, looks like we're getting a pretty good white there. There we go. Alright. And then now all we have to do is tell it to resume. So we push the button and it should Z. Now it does spit out a little bit of filament there. So you want to try and catch it before it gets to the print. And we can always change the Z code not to do that, which I probably will change my G code not to do that in the future. And there we go. Now we're printing the white layer. Alright guys, I'll see y'all when it's done. Alright guys, here you go. As you can see, here's our BMW printed in 3 colors. Came out looking pretty good. There are a couple flaws in the model. There's a little flaw up here in the keyring. There's some flaws in the letters, which are probably kind of hard for y'all to see. There, you might be able to see that a little better. And I bet you if we run this through a model repair, it'll take care of all those flaws and get rid of them. But other than that, this model looks great. It printed out nice. As you saw, all of our G code worked. All the changes we made, zeroing it, worked fine. As far as I can tell, it worked fine. It does not feel like it didn't. It feels like it did probably what it's supposed to based on the model. So, there you go. Thank y'all for watching. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, have a great day.